Fujitora, Admiral Isho Fujitora. After the time skip, they had to get a replacement for Aokiji and Akainu, as Akainu was promoted and Aokiji defected to become a pirate, right? So, who did they call? They called Fujitora and a guy named Aramaki. Now, Fujitora was on the island, he was there on business. He was like, warlords are no more. I'll hunt you down, Trafalgar Law and Monkey D. Luffy. You are pirates, and I'm here. I might as well do my job. And he was hunting down Law, and he, had them cool. And he was kind of like with Doflamingo, but like during this time, shit was changing, right? So the warlord system was abolished, and that was good for Fujitora. Fujitora also knew, though, he couldn't fuck around with Doflamingo too much, because guess what? He had his men out there, and they were fighting against pirates. And he was like, okay. He comes down, though, when he finds a man named Sabo. Fire Fist Sabo. No, Flame Emperor Sabo. And he's like fucking with Admiral Bastille and almost killed him. And he was like, hold on. I'm here. I'm an admiral. Stand in front of me real quick. And Sabo was like, well, I needed some like real fucking, shit to stand on business against. I guess that would be a good person to test my new powers against. And it was. They were pretty much like on par, with a slight edge to Fujitora because he had more proficiency in his devil fruit powers. That's why. Sabo was still inexperienced at using Ace's devil fruit, but he was still learning it as the fight was going on. Now Fujitora was a bit suppressed too, because at this point the bird cage was coming in, and then he was like, okay, I can't fight you no more. I have to stop this bird cage. I'm trying to stop the bird cage without like sending meteors down. That would destroy everything. So then after all that was said and done, he bowed his head to King Riku and was like, I'm sorry for all the shit that we, did. We didn't do our jobs. The pirates had to come save you. We're the Marines. We shouldn't have to get help from pirates or anything, And then he was like, damn, that's not a good look for us. Akainu said, you don't tell people shit like that on live television. You don't bow your head like that, And he was like, I can't do that when, what happened was this. I'd rather be truthful about the whole thing. And then he was told he can't come back unless he captures the pirates. Then he fought against Luffy for a little bit, and he like kind of figured out the personality of Luffy a little bit. Like you kind of like, I don't see you, but I like feel who you are. You're kind of an interesting character. I wouldn't say I agree with who you are as a pirate, but as a person, you kind of seem like a good person. If situations were different, we might be friends type shit. But strength is a 92 with the speed at a 90. Durability is at 89% with his endurance at a 82. Intelligence at a 87 and his experience at a 93. 88 for his close skills and a 94 for his range skills, with the recoup at a 90 and a 95 for his hack. So overall power score is a 91% for Fujitora during Dressrosa. Be cool calling on the corner.